They say love is a decision, not a feeling.
I believe love is a feeling. I know this because I've loved some people for different things, and sometimes when I sit down, I can't even put a finger on why I love them. I just know that I do.
Wow.
The thing about marrying your dream girl is she becomes real. When you saw her and you idolized her, you thought, oh, she doesn't snore at night. She doesn't sleep and drool and leave a white mark when she wakes up. She doesn't poop. She doesn't fart. And you get married to her. When all of a sudden, this person becomes a real person to you.
Ghana's enjoyment
I
president.
swear down. I get paid to party. I work in the party zone. I do what I love.
What would you say to couples who are getting married on honeymoon? Should they use protection?
It is vital that you stay together in the early part of the marriage, at least. How the rest of your life is going to be. Relationships are like building. They require a foundation.
Right.
The strength of your foundation determines how long that relationship is going to stand the test of time.
All right. Welcome to Unbroken Podcast.
Thank you.
Today, my guest is John Michael, who is a social worker development consultant. I hope I've got that right.
You did.
And Michael and I met in a Rotary Club meeting. And we just hit it off. I just loved his personality. So today we're going to be talking about love, boundaries, and emotional intelligence. It's a relationship, and every relationship should they have these three things. What does it do? And hopefully Michael is here to help us. So Michael, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
So Michael, love, boundaries, emotional intelligence. 3 pillars for relationships. Please help me understand. Why do we need these 3?
First of all, I want to say thank you for having me on your podcast.
You're welcome.
I'm going to hope you have some meaningful discussions that impact somebody out there. Love. It's interesting. All 3 areas are first cousins, if I were to put it that way. So when you love people, you want to get to know them, you want to get close to them. But then the process of getting close to people, getting to know people, also revolves around who they are, what they like, what they do not like, what defines their boundaries. And sometimes you find people who want to push the boundaries to see when you snap, what is it about you. So the entire idea is for you to be able to figure out what a person's boundaries are, to know how to be in a safe space around them. And then the emotional intelligence also comes in, because in the process of doing that, you would also discover the way people react to certain things. Do they have triggers? What are their triggers? What is it that they do when they're triggered? How do they respond to the things that you do? So when people respond, you want to be able to understand even their silence, even when they smile, when they look at you, what's going through their head, what's their thought process, and then it informs how you react to them. And that is the emotional intelligence, being able to know how to act, when to act, and how to go about it.
When we talk about love, these days, it seems that love has been, I don't want to say reduced, but the meaning of love seems to just get diluted so often. Boy meets girl, and the first thing says, I love you, and you don't even know the person. So let's help me to understand, what is love? I mean,
if I simplified it, love is a feeling that goes behind just liking. When you more than like anybody, you love them.
When you more than like somebody, you love them.
You love them.
Oh, but
yes.
So it goes behind the feeling.
Yes, it has to be. There has to be more. Like, you like everybody, you like things you see, all of that. But then what makes it love is when that feeling is beyond just liking. You don't just like them. There's more. There's more depth to it. There's more. They capture your mind. They capture your thoughts. It's something about them.
But isn't that lust?
If I had said there's something about them that you saw made you want to sleep with them, or was born out of just mere attraction, then you can call it lust.
Oh, okay, go on.
Yes, but then this isn't about lust. It's not about wanting to be intimate with them or anything. It's just knowing you really, really, really like them.
But doesn't majority of the relationships start with lust first before it develops into love?
I don't know about majority. I never did like a survey to be able to tell, but I tend to feel that, especially with the sexual part of relationships, that sometimes it is how some people express their feelings.
Right.
Yeah, it's when I feel there's a lot you can tell even with how a person makes love to you. They're aggressive. Are they attentive to you? Do they pay attention? Do they touch you in the way you want to be touched? Do they hold you? Do they look you in the face? What are they communicating with the sex they have with you? So it's all different. It's love could be born out of lust, and lust could also be born out of love. I feel they are somewhat interdependent. It is possible for a person who loves you to want to sleep with you, but then it is also possible for a person who doesn't love you to want to sleep with you.
Exactly.
And that is when it becomes lust.
I hear all the wonderful definitions. So in any relationship, everything must be underpinned in love.
Ideally.
Thank you. Ideally, it should be underpinned in love.
Yes.
To the Christian world, they say love is a decision, not a feeling. What are your views on that?
I believe love is a feeling.
Okay.
It's a feeling that most of the time you can't even explain. And I know this because I've loved some people for different things. And sometimes when I sit down, I can't even put a finger on why I love them. I just know that I do. I just know that their actions affect me. I just know when I think about them, like there's a way I feel. And I didn't get up and decide to love them. It's when you get that feeling that some may describe as love at first sight, and you don't even know the person, but you just see them and you're drawn to them and you want to get to know them. You want to be around them. You want to be with them. Right. Now, these are not things you decide to do. Now, there's a part where decision making comes in, where you get a feeling towards a person, but you decide that irrespective of the feeling, you're not going to act on it.
Right.
That is when you're making a decision to go against how you feel.
Okay.
But it's nonetheless a feeling. It started with a feeling.
Okay, so it starts with a feeling. Okay. With that said, in marriage, when love is a feeling, is there a danger of that feeling running out?
It's harder for a feeling to go away. A decision can go away. When the circumstances that led to the decision change, it is easy to decide, then it's not worth my while anymore. For example, if I saw a girl in a Lamborghini and I felt like, wow, she probably has a lot of money, and so the money drew me to her, and then I spoke to her and then I found out, oh, it's her husband's Lamborghini or it's her boyfriend's Lamborghini. She doesn't even own it, or she doesn't have any disposable money. That attraction could very easily go away. Whereas if I had a feeling, it was born out of nothing. I felt for the person. I got attracted to the person out of a feeling I had towards them. I'm not necessarily in control of that feeling. So even when I make a mental decision not to act on it, it doesn't change my feeling towards them. So I feel when the feeling is true and it's real, it can't just go away. It doesn't ever go away. So you may not end up being with them, but it wouldn't change how you feel about them.
Wow. I mean, we see the statistics of couples getting married, and then at some point, one reason or the other, the relationship doesn't work. Where does it go wrong?
Years ago, I watched a movie, The Godfather.
Great movie.
You remember? Beautiful movie. It's a classic.
Oh,
it's an
yes.
all-time classic. And one gentleman in the mafia said, the thing about marrying your dream girl is she becomes real. I kept thinking about it, but somehow it made perfect sense to me. It made sense to me in the way that when you saw her and you idolized her, you thought, oh, she doesn't snore at night. She doesn't sleep and drool and leave a white mark when she wakes up. She doesn't poop. She doesn't fart. She's always in. hot, sexy lingerie, lacy stuff and all that. She's never ever in grandma panties and all of that.
Yeah.
And you get married to her. And you find that actually she does all those things. You find that in the middle of the night, she raises her leg and she just farts, and you're thinking, oh my days. You lie next to, or you go to the bathroom and you find these grandma panties that have been hung to dry because they wear them during the period. There are different things you discover, and all of a sudden, this person becomes a real person to you.
That's right.
Right? And sometimes if you idolize them in a way that was unrealistic, sometimes the reality kind of faces the feeling. Right? But the ultimate reason I find that sometimes there's a breakdown in marriage is not necessarily with the feeling of just disappearing. It is when a decision was made to be with somebody based on a misrepresentation of themselves.
Hold on, you've got to break that down.
Okay, I'll come to it. So, take for example, in today's social media world, where most people who are themselves also have an alter ego on their social media that represents them, right? Now, what happens is, on the person's social media, they're partying, they're popping bottles, they're having their shisha, they're smoking some weed, and that image there attracts a certain kind of person.
Yep.
Right? But in reality, the things that they actually cherish may be staying at home, cooking, watching movies, just Netflix and chill. Then a gentleman gets attracted to the party girl and then gets close to her. And then when this person comes into her life expecting to party and do all the things she does, he has her, let's just come over, let me just cook and let's just chill. Because she thinks I'm trying to show him who I really am.
Yeah.
Right? Now, when this person, clearly who's attracted to you, eventually ends up probably sleeping with you, and then eventually he sees the real you, and the real you is too boring for him, and so he moves on. It's easy for you to sit back and think he doesn't know a good thing when he sees it, or he doesn't like a good thing.
Right.
But what a lot of women do not see is that they misrepresented themselves to him, and so the person he was attracted to or drawn to is not the same person they showed him,
Wow.
which is why he left. The reverse is also true, that you could have presented a godly, demure person to them, and they got close to you, only to find you had this really freaky other side that they didn't see when they checked you out. And so in you coming out with the bad bitch in you, let me put it that way, they're like, who are you? I don't even know you. Now, when it comes to men, I get this a lot when I meet people who know me, and maybe you didn't know this, but I'm Ghana's enjoyment president.
Ghana's enjoyment
I
president.
swear down.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I get paid to party. I work in the party zone. I do what I love, but then you'd see me, like on a Friday, you'd come to Soho and you see me vibing and jamming, and it looks like I'm just partying, but I'm working, and I'd go everywhere that jams everywhere. And today I'm at Excel, tomorrow I'm at Mood, I'm at Ace Club, Silver Fox, I move everywhere. But then I most of the time want to get a feel of how every place is going, so that if there are any innovations or things I can improvise back at Soho or Luna or White Restaurant. And so that is me in a nutshell. Now, my wife met me as a party person, knows I like to have a good time, I like to have fun. I didn't change when I got married.
So no misrepresentation.
Zero. So what she saw was what she got, right? The opposite side is some brothers who then met a girl and decided to change and try and be what the girl's ideal was.
Yeah.
The thing about being what you're not is you can only maintain it for so long. Eventually, you slip back into your old ways.
Certainly.
Now, if you understand women to some extent, you understand that a lot of women require consistency.
Yeah.
So whoever you start as
You've got to
with
maintain
them is the person you have to maintain. And at the point where you change that person, as far as she's concerned, your feelings towards her have changed. Is
Right.
it somebody else? Do you just not like them anymore? What's happening? And then all of a sudden they become withdrawn. And so you'd find that, like Ofoyan Ponsa sang in a song, Sakoko Sacha Kroma and Yanefe, there's nothing you do that they find nice anymore because the feeling has changed.
Okay.
Or
I like what you're saying, because in my line of work as a counselor, I say to young couples during premarital counseling that when the person you marry doesn't change the moment they say I do, because what was there during the relationship is what you see when they say I do.
yes,
So this misrepresentation, I like the way you've put it, because it appears that some people go out of their way to live a life to impress.
yes,
Only once they get married, then they start having problems because the real person comes out. Okay. So then when we're talking about marriage, we're looking at love, and we're looking at don't misrepresent. Be you, authentic.
yes.
Yeah. So what she's seeing, it reminds me of a Hammerite advert in the UK. It does exactly what it says on the tin. At what point does boundaries come to play in a relationship? Married couples, why should they have boundaries?
So anybody who is in you wouldn't necessarily do things you like or want all the time, right? You know what you like, you know what you do not like. And everybody is uniquely independent, right? When you stayed with somebody, you gotten to know a person, you know the things they like, and you learn to respect the things they like, and they learn to respect the things you like. For that reason, you will have to understand that there are things that you will like that they may not like, or they
Right.
may like that you do not like.
That's right.
They don't necessarily have to change because you don't like them, or but you're going to have to learn to respect that this is what he likes, so let him do him. This is what I like, he lets me do me, right? So you'd find, for example, a man who doesn't like to go out, who marries a girl who's on the opposite of him, because unlike poles do attract.
That's right.
Then having to understand that even though he doesn't like to go out, because she likes to go out, he's going to have to make peace with it. So not get into her business in her face about why are you going out, why are you hanging out with this and that, because again, those are boundaries that you have to respect. You know, if you want to come along, you can tag along if you want, but if you don't want to, that's perfectly okay. But then you don't then decide to give me grief about something you knew was a part of me. So the boundaries come in when you've gotten to know each other, and it's again for this very reason that if I counsel the young couple, I would say to them that it is vital that you stay together in the early part of the marriage, at least. So I sometimes worry for long distance marriages when it starts. And when it starts, the thing is, when you're dating somebody, you see them once in a while.
Yeah.
The version of them you see is very different from the version when you're living with them. You're in their face, you're in their space, like 24/7. You sleep, you wake up, and they are there. In the night, you're going to sleep, and they are there again. And also, you need that period of being together, waking up to see each other's face, and deciding how the rest of your life is going to be. Because, like, relationships are like buildings; they require a foundation.
Right.
But the strength of your foundation determines how long that relationship is going to stand the test of time. So if you have never lived together, gotten to know each other, gotten to know what he likes, what he doesn't like, what she likes, what she doesn't like, eventually you have a loose base. I'll go back to a story. I had a friend who was doing very well in Ghana, married a gentleman who was in the States. And then at some point, she would go and visit and she'll come back. She would visit and come back. And I kept telling her, look, I think you need to decide whether he's moving here or you're moving there, because this on and off is not the best. And
That's
she was like,
exciting.
oh, yeah, she understands and all of that. I was cool. Then one day she goes to the States and she calls me and she says, do you think it's possible that he has a girlfriend? I said, yes, I do. And she's like, and do I think it's right? And I said, I don't think it's wrong. And she said, why? And I said, you're in the States all of 3 months in a year. That leaves 9 months where he's on his own. And again, body not be firewood. So he's going to have needs. He's going to want to sort himself out. Now, unless you want to cultivate the habit of phone sex and masturbating over the phone with him, eventually he will start talking to someone. He works with people. He hangs with people. These things are bound to happen. And she's like, yes. So let's say she understands that when she's not there, these things happen. Don't I think it's only respectful when she's there that he cuts it off with whoever? And I said, you see, you are here for all of 2 minutes. You want him to go and break it off with this person who is there all the time. And then what does he do when you leave? He goes and begs, or he finds somebody else. And would you rather he was seeing different people at different times and risking you potentially ended up with some STI? What do you think? And then we spoke about it. She came to Ghana that vacation and she resigned and went and then relocated.
Awesome.
A year down the line, she called me. Elijah, I just wanted to say thank you. I said, well, thank you for what? So I remember that conversation we had. I said yes. And she was like, things are so much better now. And we had a good chat about it and all. And it's normal. These things happen, right? But then it's about the fact that you miss out on these cues when you're not together with them, when you don't start together with them, so you don't know them. So boundaries are important. Everybody needs their space. It's for the mental space. It's peace of mind. It's clarity. It's everything. But to not allow those boundaries is to have a person get fed up with you. You can't always be in a person's space.
Okay. So is it a red flag to any couple when
boundaries are not respected?
Yes, when it's not respected, especially when it comes to emotional baggages. So should the spouse support you but allow you to go through your own issue?
So your spouse has a role to play in supporting you, right? And when you allow him to help you through places, but then it has to be your choice.
Right.
It has to be your choice. Sometimes you're just not ready. People process things differently at different speeds, at different rates. So sometimes the person needs to be ready. And when they're ready, they open up. You work through that phase. But it's not, when a person, sometimes it gets a bit much when you're not ready and the person is pushing, going on they want to. That in itself is a problem.
Okay. Thank you. So we need love. We need boundaries. So boundaries means that either party doesn't get emotionally drained. We respect one another.
Yes.
We support one another.
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. When you get married from the beginning, stay together.
Yes.
To create the foundation.
And that together, don't have family members coming to stay with you. Nothing. Yeah, don't. In the first year of marriage, at least, no brother of yours, sister of yours, uncle, anybody. So you need your space.
Just the first year.
At least the first year. After the first year, when you survive the first year, 8 out of 10 at least, you survive the rest of the years. The first year is critical. The fights will happen. The swearing, it will happen. When you all loved up, honeymoon phase passes. Then the financial wahala comes, then bills come, and you need to. So who's doing what? How are we doing what? When I had a bad day at work, how did he react to it? See, okay, am I okay with the way he does it? How did he speak to me? Is the sex good? Is it not? It's all these things in 1 year, 365 days, you will feel it.
But John, I don't think a year is enough.
It's not enough, but I'm saying that at least that first year, let them have their space.
Why shouldn't it be like 3 years? Don't live with family for 3 years.
If I had it my own way, don't live with family for forever. Because there are so many times where family gets involved and there's issues and the thing is, family tend to talk to family, and so sometimes things that happen in your house that should stay in your house end up in family discussions because there's family members. And so it left to me alone. Family members shouldn't be staying with anybody.
I'm going to push you a little bit more. So we've spoken about, okay, 1 year minimum, at least, be together.
Yeah.
But it just appears that a lot of the young people get pregnant on their honeymoon.
Mm-hmm.
So in the first year, not only are they trying to deal with the finances, trying to deal with how are we living together and all that stuff, because if they haven't lived together and they've gotten married, this is the first time they're moving in together. Mm-hmm. On the honeymoon, the lady's now pregnant. Now she's having to deal with all those emotional highs and emotional lows and all the things that pregnancy comes with. What would you say to couples who are getting married on honeymoon? Should they use protection?
So my dad is a Reverend Minister of the Methodist Church, very Reverend Apechampo.
Okay.
My dad said something interesting some years ago. He said he doesn't understand why young couples these times go on honeymoon, because by the time they marry, they've already eaten all the honey, So he doesn't understand why they will go on honeymoon. You are saying they get pregnant during the honeymoon. Some are pregnant by the time they get married.
Exactly.
It's just what it is. Mm-hmm. It's not one of the things you have control of. So it's interesting because sometimes some people even got married because they got pregnant.
That's right. Yeah.
And so to put a time on that, it's weird, and also because, mind you, from where I sit, ideally, the best time to have children is in your 20s, Unfortunately, in Ghana, 20s, people have still not found their feet. They are still finding jobs and all of that. And so ideally, if she's in her 20s and she's married someone in his 30s who's found his direction, then it makes sense. But then in the 20s, a woman's body is young, she heals quickly, and she has her children. By the time she's 40, you look at her, she doesn't look like she's had kids.
Okay.
Yeah, she's hot, she's sexy.
Okay.
And men are saying, "Oh, is that your girlfriend?" "No, that's my wife."
Yeah.
And she looks it. But if you have someone who didn't have children, now it's in her 30s, is in her 35 or mid-30s, wait for what? At the honeymoon or before, maybe they should shoot and start working towards having children. Of course, it makes the first year a bit complicated because you're having to deal with a woman waking up in the middle of the night and telling you she wants to eat okro. And you don't have okro at home. You have to find okro. You are waking up in the middle of the night for someone to tell you, "Oh, at this point, I want to eat KFC."
Yeah.
And you're thinking, at this time, but you go and get a KFC. You have to deal with all those urges, and you have to deal with the going for antenatal and then being supportive and, "Oh, I can't do this. You have to do it for me," and all of that. But it helps in a way, because I would always say if he can't manage you at your worst, he doesn't deserve you at your best.
Okay.
So if he's gone through that hurdle and he survived it,
then it's worth
waiting will come before.
Okay. So the love is important. The boundaries are important. And we're saying that live together as a married couple. And when we're saying live together as a married couple, what we're saying is, hey, in the first year, just the two of you. Don't bring an external party, no family, nothing. Just the two of you. Get to know each other. And I've just added the pregnancy bit. But yes, I understand that if the couple are ready, then that nothing stops them. But it's just protecting the first year or 2 years of the marriage, where they get to know one another, and they get to have conversations, to dream.
Yeah.
And whilst I love children, they do interrupt the whole process.
Yes.
I think it was Chip and his brother Mitch. They said 2 people who are of sane mind or healthy minds decides to interrupt their lifestyle by having children. Because when children come, they just turn your world either the right side up or the right side down.
Yeah.
But literally, they just come in and disrupt a lot of things. Marriage is a marathon, and that's what we're looking at. So you've got the love bit sorted, you've got the boundary sorted. Emotional intelligence, how do we now bring that into play, into the relationship?
It's a constant learning process. And sometimes you get it wrong, sometimes you get it right.
Yeah.
But I find the trick to it is for you to develop a habit of reflection. Yeah.
Okay.
Being able to think about what happened, think about what just transpired. What did you do that added to what happened? What did she do that added to what happened? Was there anything you could have done differently to change the outcome? And to have these conversations constantly with yourself, because this is how you're going to grow, this is how you're going to evolve. I remember a time where about the only time I remember making my wife cry was when she had gotten, so my wife's a doctor, and she was working with Ghana Health Service, and they had given her these Toyota Hilux pickups, but then they didn't give her an automatic car, they gave her a manual car. And she brought the car, the driver brought the car home, and then when she tried to move it, and he had to really bring the gearbox for the move it into reverse. Right, it was the reverse is like where the first gear is. I need to push it in and take it there. And she tried it and it wasn't working, so she called me, and I came down. But at the time, we had a low argument over something, and I really wasn't in the best place. I was upset, but I was trying to keep cool about it. So I came down. She moved to the passenger side. I was like, "Oh, so this is it. This is how I moved," and I did it. But I'm a lot stronger than she is, so I just did it easily and put it there. And it was like, I just like that. Then I did it again and again. I said, "She come and do it." And she was doing it, wasn't going. I was like, "How are you not getting it? Like, just push it all the way there." And then she started crying.
Oh,
and I was thinking, well, it's okay. I should go. She do it herself. So eventually she ends up holding it with two hands and then pushing it, which worked for her. It took a while because she could before she got the whole concept of pushing it hard and then pushing it there. But I had to go and sit down and think about it because, again, when women start crying, it kind of throws the whole thing into disarray. And so I then said, sorry. And, she was like, it's fine, like, sorry. And so when she was going to her, she was crying and sitting in this car and going, and I was thinking, maybe I shouldn't have, maybe I should have taken my time. But then again, even like I'm a social worker. When I was in London and I was deciding on which aspect of social work to do, I chose youth work.
Right.
Because I didn't think I was that patient to deal with children and have to repeat myself. And so I've never enjoyed repeating myself, saying things over and over again. And so I get flustered when I have to keep repeating myself. And I think it's one of my triggers. So when I say something once, twice, by the third time, I'm upset because I'm wondering why I should keep repeating myself. And so that is what happened in that situation. Now, it took me having to reflect on it, think about it, to now make a conscious effort in how to communicate certain things to her without escalating the situation. So looking at more of how to diffuse it. And what's interesting is when I started having kids, I realized that I was a lot more patient than I thought. Yes, I could. Yes, I could deal with kids, things that should have irritated me. I got to just suck it up, and then watch them. And then I pick on little things like my dad telling me that no child has ever cried and died, so it's normal if they cry. So if you want to cry, and I've checked. Like you've eaten, I've burped you. I've checked your diapers, you've not solved it. You're nothing. You are just crying. I can put you there and I can go ahead about my business. I won't be irritated. I won't be upset. You can cry. You cry 30 minutes and decide to sleep afterwards. That's entirely up to you. But then I learned the habit of teaching children to self-soothe.
Okay.
So if you do it 2-3 times and you realize that this man, if you cry, he won't pick you. Eventually, you realize that if you want me to pick you, crying is not the way to do it. But it was exciting for me when I started having kids and having to learn. And I refused to read any books on raising children because I felt like, so you have these white people have sat down to write their book on their white child, and they think that my black child is going to
should apply.
do the same thing. And I felt every child is uniquely different in one way or the other. So I want to write my own child's book. I want to learn how to raise my child and how to go about it. And so in my first child raising, let me put it that way, I learned everything there was to learn about raising kids. I learned how to regulate their sleep. I learned how to pick them up, hold them, to feed them, to do all of that. So I merely repeated that with my two other kids, and then voila,
wow,
we're there. But yes.
So I mean, from what you're saying, you were an involved dad.
I am an involved dad.
I like the way you come back.
I am still an involved dad. Yeah, I love being around my kids. I love watching them grow. I love being a part of all of their journey, and so making it there for school recitals or school plays and open day.
You get involved in all of that.
Yeah. I've served twice in 2 different schools as PTA chairman. Yeah.
Well done.
Yeah, one when my children were at Emmanuel Methodist International School, when my daughter was there, and then again when both of my daughters were at Outside Academy. Yeah, but then that is how you're involved, and I would have a go at parents at the PTA and tell them that your parenthood doesn't stop at paying school fees. So you have to be at the PTA meeting. You have to show up. You have to contribute towards the decisions that are made that revolve around your children. Yes. And so you can't sit back and then when decisions are taken, you now want to call PTA chairman and you complain over the phone. If you didn't come to a meeting, then don't bother calling me about it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. It's such a great discovery, because one of the challenges we're finding is a lot of fathers don't actually get too involved with their children. They end up chasing the money, so much so that they forget the family. But in this modern era where both husband and wife are working, the responsibility still goes back to the woman. Yeah. And she's still running around doing all the other things, and we're not getting involved. What would you say to the younger self? I mean, looking at your marriage, what would you do different or do more of?
I think maybe I got it right at the start, because I learned things about me, for one, and also learned things about my children. Now, growing up, I used to think that maybe as a parent, my role, if I had a son, would be to be a role model to my son.
Right.
Unfortunately, I have 3 daughters and no son. But then I also learned that as a father, I had a unique role in the lives of my daughters to teach them how it meant to be loved by a man, but to be loved in an unadulterated way, where they are loved simply because they are beautiful young ladies and just because they are them. And so they are loved because they are Afua and they are Irama, and that's enough to be loved. Yeah. But then it's about understanding that the love that I have to teach them is what they take into the rest of their lives. So when they meet men, they're going to judge how they treat them by how I treat them.
Thank you.
It becomes my role as a father. And that is where a lot of men get it wrong, because a lot of men think that their role will be to mentor and to raise their sons. But then when they are absent in the lives of their daughters and they don't relate to that, it will show in the kind of relationship their daughters have moving forward, the kind of men they are drawn to, because any man can now come and show them his idea of being loved. So my idea of loving them was to make time for them, to spend time with them, go to the cinema, go horse riding, go to the pool, sit in their swimming classes and be there all the time, travel with them, go on weekends to places and stay together. And so I taught them how I feel they should feel love and the things that determine that love. And so it is very important. It's not part of our topic, but it is something that most men need to know. And it comes to play when you're looking at our boundaries as well as relationships, because you're going to get married.
Yeah.
Your partner is going to have kids. Are you going to sit back when the kids wake up in the middle of the night and say it's her job? Mind you, she's going to work same as you and come back and still have to breastfeed and then take care of the child. So if the child starts crying in the middle of the night, is it abnormal for you to get up and then check on the child? Is it abnormal for you to change the child's diapers? Is it abnormal for you to go and warm the milk that has been extracted and then feed the child so she can get a little extra sleep? So there are and all of these feed into the overall psyche of the marriage, because if these things are absent, right, then you'd find that they become emotionally drained at some point. Yeah. And then everything goes haywire.
Okay. Thank you. Now, there's some statistics out there that says that when a father invests time in his daughters, it also helps boost their confidence.
Yes.
They rise faster in whatever career they choose, whatever business they choose. They rise faster because of that foundation they've been given. So yes, I do agree. And it is important for fathers to really, I even go to the point of teaching them how they need to be dated. And I remember even with my daughter, taking her out on dates. Yes. I mean, we've just had one of the Valentine is just gone by, and I remember for the longest time, I would even send her flowers when she was in school.
My dad used to do that with my sisters, but that was only because they threatened him. They said to him that if he doesn't send flowers and some boy sends them bouquets, he shouldn't complain.
Yeah.
He sends flowers.
So, I mean, very similar to your dad. I mean, my daughter, the first year, she didn't get anything. And I thought, no, I didn't want her to go through that. Nobody likes me. But then the reverse is, once she found out it was coming from me, I had to really come out and confess to her why I was doing it. Because she said, but Dad, it was you all the time. And I thought somebody was admiring me. I said, but yes, I admire you. Yeah. It's for us creating time for our children. So yes, we're still talking about boundaries. We're still talking about emotional intelligence. But we need to raise children who are sound so they can contribute to society.
Yes.
I mean, children learn through observation. And if we don't do the right thing, we get to muddy the waters for them when they get into their marriages.
Yes.
So,
and then they enter their marriages with baggage.
Yes. 14 years in marriage. How are you keeping the romance? How are you keeping the spark alive in this 14 years? You've gone past the 7-year itch twice. So how are you keeping the whole thing? How are you keeping it going?
How am I keeping it going? I guess it's, again, like I said, I am the enjoyment president, so my life is mostly enjoyment. And so there are things I would do, like go on dates with the missus, or sometimes host the missus and her friends at Soho when they would come out and come for comedy. Like, so on the first Thursday of the month, we have a stand-up comedy show. And she likes it, yes.
Oh, wow, okay.
We get like 5 top comedians who come entertain everybody. And she would turn up with her Wesley Girls Hall students.
Oh.
Yes, or her work colleagues, and they'll come and they'll sit there and they'll have some food and drinks and everything and have a good time. And then they would go. I realized at some point that she was sticking with that instead of the Fridays, because if she comes out with me on a Friday, we are going back home in the morning.
Ooh.
Yes, I will do all the things I do on a Friday when I come out alone. So we go home in the morning. And I'm religious about it, because if you come out with me and that day you came out, we went home at 3 a.m., it's easy to start thinking, so it is possible for me to come home at 3 a.m. But I'm not going to be coming home at 3 a.m. So we are staying in town till 6 when we are going home, so that you understand that this is the normal.
So even though you could have gone home at 3, you still stay out in town until 6.
So my reason for not going home at 3 is also about security, right? Look, I've had a friend who went into Lakeside Estate, this is an estate, and got shot at his gate, and his car was taken, all right?
Okay.
I've had several such incidents of people being attacked on their way home. And so I've even said to my wife, if you're going out with your girls and you're not going to come home before 12, stay where you are. It's safer. All the armed robbers and shady people are operating between the 11, 12 till about 4 a.m. time slot, right? If after 4 a.m. an armed robber is waiting for you, then he's hungry, very hungry. which is why he's there. But then other than that, it's safer to stay where you are, go home after 4. You may be tired. If you're tired, sit in your car and sleep, and then go home in the morning, because it's not worth rushing home in the middle of the night, 2 a.m., 3 a.m. Maybe it's even at a red light, and then someone breaks a window and robs you. And then we have to deal with waking up the next morning to, oh, you were attacked. And then we feel bad for asking you out when you could have stayed with everybody and gone home when it was safe.
Wow.
So my reason for staying out late is, like, if you're out, stay out, have a good time, hang with your people. After 4, 5 a.m., it's safe. Go home.
Wow. This has been fantastic. Okay, so Soho, Ghana's what? Entertainment president.
Oh, yes. Enjoyment president.
Ghana's entertainment enjoyment president.
Yes.
Okay, this is the first I'm hearing of it.
Because you don't enjoy it like we do.
You're right. So, yes. Okay. All right.
Yes. And what you see, what makes it exciting for me in a place like Soho is it's where a lot of the most relevant people hang out. It's a more mature crowd. So you want to have business leaders, ministers of state, high commissioners, like everybody who's relevant comes to Soho. And so it's not just partying, it's networking, it's getting to know relevant people, it's getting to do some business and potentially lay ground to go into the office on Monday to sign some paperwork and get some business running. But it makes it an exciting place to be.
Wow. Okay, I'm sold. Okay. I've got to make a point to bring my wife there.
But the day you decide to come after work, sleep for about 2-3 hours. You will need it.
You can tell my age already, eh?
Yeah, but you need the sleep.
That's good. John, it's been great talking to you. Thank you very much. I mean, you've spoken about love and why it's important as a foundation. Mm-hmm. You've also spoken to us about boundaries because it helps us to be able to navigate our relationships. Mm-hmm. Each partner doesn't get drained because at the end of the day, everybody knows what your likes are, what your dislikes are. And as you aim to please one another, it helps. Mm-hmm. And then the emotional intelligence, this part that you said, which I held on to, and it's like, reflect. And where you need to apologize. Mm-hmm. But reflect on your actions so that the next time something like that comes up, you are then able to deal better with it. You are able to respond rather than react. And all the things that life will throw at you, the person that you've made up your mind to be with, enjoy the process.
Oh, yes.
It's been great.
It's been
wonderful. Thank you. And I will see you again. This time, I'm going to make sure I come to Soho and then we see what we can do in Soho. I have to sleep for 2 to 3 hours before I come.
Oh, yes.
Okay, so it's a date.
Thank you.
John, thank you very much.